Right, Ouroboros on strikers. Let's just have a gander, shall we? Alright, I have actually finished my Ouroboros strikers testing, and I have 4 builds. Uno, dos, tres, cuatro. 4 builds. That was really hard to do when the camera's reversed, by the way, so I should definitely get a thumbs up for that. Anyway, Ouroboros on strikers, is it actually required? It actually isn't. Just to show or give you an idea of how stupid Ouroboros is, you could get 4-piece strikers, Coyote's Mask, and then a Cheska chest with St. Elmo's, and then all you would do is swap the Cheska to Grupo, and then change all the red cores to blue. Ouroboros will still do more. So I would love to sit here and say, I can't wait for all the trash builds that are going to come out of the usual suspects with Ouroboros. The problem is, Ouroboros is that damn good, you can put it on anything and it will still out DPS most other weapons regardless of their build. So yeah, just because they have Ouroboros on them, there's probably going to be no such thing as a trash build, simply because Ouroboros is actually that stupid. It's kind of ridiculous and also just a little bit upsetting. Anyway, the builds we have for you today are as follows. The first one is what you can see in the background footage of me running. I have the chest and the backpack the other way around, but it's pretty simple. 4-piece strikers, all rolled to critical hit damage. We have a Grupo piece and a Sokolov piece. We want Obliterate and Unstoppable Force. The reason we're going to go for Unstoppable Force isn't because Vigilance is nerfed or bugged or whatever. Where we have an SMG build and we're going to be in close proximity basically all of the time, we want to get maximum uptime on our buffs and Vigilance, despite the fact that it's going to give us a higher performance initially because it is 25% from the off. The likelihood of us being able to maintain and keep this up and running is very minimal, so we go for Unstoppable Force. And just because Oreo, as we're now calling it, has some absolutely ridiculous DPS, it doesn't really matter too much. It just means that the longer we go, the stronger we get. Up next is the build that we've been using for incursions, although I've been messing around with this and it turns out Contractors is just a little bit better. That's like less than 1% better, so there's no point actually getting angry over it. But it's 4-piece strikers, Grupo gloves, and then Coyote's Mask. Now I would suggest going for 59% crit chance, however you can swap out a crit chance to bring yourself back to 53 and then allowing you to get more critical hit damage. However, this is mostly then going to rely on you getting the long range buff from someone, but let's face it, if we're all running Oreo, all we're going to be caring about is the close range buff because we're going to be in close range. So I would recommend 59 just so that you're able to get a higher percentage in crit rates. And then, like I said, it's basically the exact same thing apart from we're swapping out Grupo gloves for Contractors. This is why I'm saying Grupo gloves, so you can sort of switch between the two. This will mean you need to replace one of your crit damage mods, either in the backpack, mask or chest, bloody blah, to crit chance to bring yourself back to 59. This will be a drop in your critical hit damage. However, it mostly is going to be immaterial because you will notice that your crits do a bit less. But it's your non-crits where you're going to be making up the difference, and the overall difference is you get like a 1% damage increase or DPS increase. So it's not really anything to brag about. It doesn't really matter either way. But overall, these are like the 2 highest builds. Now they do have one problem. Despite the fact that Ouroboros shoots very, very fast, its DPS is so high that you rinse most things insanely quickly. It's kind of comical. So the chances of you actually getting to 200 stacks, even in legendary, I've tested it in legendary, and things just get nuked by the time you get to 120 stacks. Everything just falls apart. So outside of incursions, I don't really see this as a benefit. Maybe in raid with Lieutenant Grey, who is a complete DPS check, potentially. In some of the raids, yes. But even in Legendary, like this, I can't really foresee you getting to 200 stacks and it being worthwhile. Which is why we have the next build, which is probably going to look very similar or familiar to a lot of people. And it is pretty much just our golden standard strikers build. Coyote's Mask, 4-piece strikers, but this time we're going to be running a Grupo chest with Obliterate. This means that our maximum is 100 stacks, offering us a 100% multiplier. This probably is going to be one of the better ones for open world, if not the first build, with the chest and the backpack being Sokolov and Grupo, Unstoppable Force, etc, etc. The overall difference between these builds is kind of minimal. You'd be surprised. I'm going to go over the DPS in a minute. There's not really that much in it, although there is going to be a difference. We're kind of just like comparing tactical nukes at this point. It doesn't really actually matter. You're going to shred things regardless, and it's kind of comical just how powerful this weapon is. So yeah. So onto the DPS. Now, these are a bit of a different order, but the top one is the build of Grupo chest. Next one down is Grupo gloves. Next one down is Contractors, and the bottom one is with Unstoppable Force and Obliterate. And this is their DPS. Like, it's actually kind of insane. Now, I've not done the percentages correctly just because there's no point. Like, there really isn't. Like, all you need to know is Oreo is a beast. Like, it's actively a beast. You're hitting, like, average for the first build with the Grupo chest is like 17 mil. Average for the build with Grupo gloves is 20.7 mil. Average for the build with Contractors is 20.9 mil, and the average for the build with Unstoppable Force and Obliterate is 16.5 mil. Like, their averages are just insane. That being said, this is Elmo's. Like, yeah, like even a worse off build with Oreo completely outperforms Elmo's. Like, we've dropped from doing like an average of around, say, let's say 20 mil, we've dropped down to 11 mil. Yeah. So yeah, Ouroboros is absolutely disgusting. Kind of a little bit insane. Obviously, it goes without saying with like all of my videos, if you want to change things up, go for it. But in this instance, I can't believe I'm going to say this, if you fancy putting some blue cores in, it's not going to hurt you at all. All of those builds that I have shown, you can put to 6 blue core and they still outperform Elmo. Completely balanced. Have fun. Good luck. Don't die. It's bad for the health.